Welcome back to Saving the Republic with Joe Staten, presented by Grab Your Gear Network, where we speak to people who get up and work hard every single day. So if you're a hard worker, this network, this show is for you. Be sure to check out all of our content on our Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube pages at Grab Your Gear. We have a weekly long-form podcast. We have this show covering current events and news that you might not hear about every day in the mainstream cycle. And we have many other types of content all for you right on our YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok page. So again, make sure you check us out at Grab Your Gear. Okay, now today's show is a little bit of a special episode. It's going to be a little bit shorter than our usual news episode, and it's covering a story that is massive, and that is that RFK Jr. is rumored to be dropping out of the presidential race on Friday and endorsing President Trump for president. Now, this is a huge deal, okay? And I'm going to explain it like this. RFK Jr. from the very beginning had a really tough road ahead of him. You know, he initially wanted to go for the Democrat nominee, did not end up working out that way for various reasons, as we'll get into a little bit later. Launched an independent campaign and really garnered nearly 15% of the vote in many different polls, national polls. The polls showed him pulling votes potentially from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris at times, and Donald Trump at other times. But regardless, you know, he had a couple campaign blunders. The whole bear thing in New York City that came out, leaking a phone call with President Trump. But the bottom line is that RFK Jr. does have a decent chunk of votes that he will be bringing to the table. And evidence of this is Joe Rogan. I don't know if many of you have seen this, but Joe Rogan said on his podcast, he said he did not endorse any candidate, but what he did say is that RFK Jr. makes the most sense to him as far as a vote goes. And really what I wanted to make this video about, this show, this miniature show special for you guys, was this assembling of characters, assembling of people for the Trump administration, okay? What we are seeing in real time is a realignment of the Trump coalition, of the MAGA movement, okay? We are seeing President Trump still leading the way. J.D. Vance joined the force, joined the charge, being essentially a protege of Trump policy-wise. Then we had Elon Musk endorse President Trump, which honestly is still a big deal to me, okay? That really can't be understated how big of a deal that is. Elon is one of the most, arguably the most influential people in the world, arguably one of the most influential people. And then we have RFK Jr., and even RFK Jr.'s vice president, Nicole Shanahan, has been very reasonable, actually, recently, which was a little bit surprising to me because she donated in the past to Democrats in a big way, but what she saw, and what we're going to get into here in a second, was just some of the corruption that goes on at the DNC. Okay, we saw their motives and their tactics in 2016 with Bernie Sanders and the superdelegates with Hillary Clinton, preventing Bernie from having a path to the nomination by essentially robbing the will of the people. And now in 2024, what they're doing is they are bringing lawfare, which they are, well, firstly, they're bringing it against Trump in New York in the various cases, but now they are bringing it against RFK Jr. to prevent him from having ballot access. So the first thing I want to go to in today's show is a clip of RFK Jr. talking about some of this lawfare. Now, it's an 8-minute video. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I want you guys to just listen to the beginning here at least. So check this out.
Hey, everybody. I'm at the state courthouse in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania this morning. I'm supposed to be in a meeting with community leaders on the south side of Chicago today talking about criminal justice reform, but I had to come here because the Democratic Party is suing me in Pennsylvania. And by the way, tomorrow I'm going to Mineola, Long Island, because they're suing me there too. They're suing me all over the country. They're trying to keep me off the ballot. Unfortunately, in some of these states, we're running into judges who are highly politicized and who are very, very sympathetic, let me put it that way, to the DNC. And today, the judge was less than sympathetic to our side. I came down from Boston this morning. I was supposed to get here last night. We had the whole day set it aside for my testimony and for the testimony of Nick Brenna, who is our ballot access director, who stayed the night here in Harrisburg. But I was supposed to come last night, but my plane got canceled because of weather. So I got up at 4 o'clock this morning, and I made it here by 11:30, but the judge said that because I was late, that I was not going to get a chance to testify. So my testimony, which was critical to this case, was excluded, and she wouldn't even let Nick Brenna testify, even though he was sequestered, so he wasn't supposed to be in the courtroom. He was sequestered a few minutes away at a hotel, and he could have been there in minutes, literally. But the judge said because he wasn't there at that time that she wasn't going to let him testify.
Okay, so again, 8-minute video. You guys can go check out the full video on RFK's Twitter page if you want to see the full thing. But he's essentially explaining some of the lawfare and just some of the balking that the Democrat Party is forcing upon his campaign, okay? Again, this is the party who stands for democracy. This is the party who stands against the threat to our institutions in the form of Donald Trump, but they now twice have robbed the will of the people, actually 3 times, with Bernie Sanders, with RFK Jr., and then with the anointing of Kamala Harris to be the nominee. They've robbed the will of the people 3 times in the matter of 2 election cycles. Pretty incredible. But they have limited his ability to get on the ballots. They are suing the crap out of RFK. You know, and as a man to man, you got to feel for the guy a little bit, at least, right? And honestly, say what you want about RFK. I highly respect the work he's done in terms of food safety, in terms of health, chronic disease. I think everybody can appreciate that work. And that's why I think the left and the Democrat establishment was so afraid of him, is because if they gave him a platform, they would realize, hey, this guy's got a lot of common sense. He's pro-First Amendment. He's actually pro-Second Amendment in a lot of ways. He can get a little bit radical on abortion, which I have my qualms with him on that. But generally speaking, RFK Jr. is a very sensible person. So the question is, why are you so afraid of him being on the ballot? The answer is that they know he takes votes from Kamala Harris, to those swing voters. And a lot of the polls showed him taking more votes from Biden and now Harris than Trump. And so after this happened, there was rumors. Shanahan went on a show yesterday and said that his vice president picked Shanahan. So they were considering either dropping out and endorsing Trump or staying in the race to try to form this third party. And it seems as if they have made their decision. Okay, right here from the Gateway Pundit, we have a report, breaking update. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will address the nation from Phoenix, Arizona on Friday, where Trump is set to hold a rally. So, interestingly, RFK Jr. announced he will be doing an announcement on Friday in Phoenix, Arizona, the same date that President Trump will be in Phoenix for a rally as well. And so you have to imagine that, hey, if he's going to drop out and endorse the president, this is the perfect opportunity to do it. And man, would it be awesome if they did like some sort of joint announcement. And look, as an American, as somebody who, again, highly respects RFK Jr., he wrote a really good book that I read, I would say almost half of. The Real Anthony Fauci. Would encourage everybody to look into it. But this man's life is a life of service. He's a good American. You know, the nephew of John F. Kennedy, the son of Robert Kennedy. And I think it would be a great thing for President Trump to offer him a position in the cabinet, whether that be in HHS, whether it be in the intelligence agencies. I don't know if he's as qualified for that, but wouldn't that be something if RFK Jr. was the one to release the JFK files for the American populace? I think our government owes it to our population after all these years to do so. But nonetheless, I think this development is a great thing for America as a whole. And by the way, I think it does have a net positive for President Trump in the election cycle, okay? I do believe this will end up resulting in a 2 or 3 point swing toward Trump. And when you look at the polls, Polymarket today actually updated their odds. President Trump now has taken a 5-point advantage over Kamala Harris, sitting at a 52-47 lead in the odds market. This is during the DNC. So President Trump is gaining ground on Kamala Harris during the DNC, and it's because the more exposure that she has, the more people realize how unlikable she is. She's so unlikable. She's so unpopular. I've been saying this for a long time. Look at the numbers from the primary cycle in 2019. She's one of the most unpopular candidates in modern politics and modern history. And I guess I don't have a personal problem with Kamala Harris, but let's just be honest. She sounds like she doesn't know what she's talking about when it comes to a lot of things, especially foreign policy. I don't know if you guys have seen the clips of her talking about the Ukraine-Russia war. I don't know if you've seen clips of her talking about cloud computing. And it kind of seems like one of those things where, I don't know if you guys know anybody like this in your life, but like when you ask somebody something or when you're talking about something and somebody who doesn't know about the subject tries to, chime in and offer advice or offer an opinion on something they don't know about just to try to sound smart. It sounds like that's what Kamala Harris does quite a bit. And I just think it's dangerous for a country to have her in the position she would be in, given that we are quite literally at the brink of World War III, okay? We're at the brink. And so now we have, like I said, we have Elon Musk, we have RFK Jr., we have several celebrities. I actually saw Meek Mill recently came out in support of Trump, which is really cool to see. People are waking up, okay? People are waking up. This is an election that will be decided by 1 to 2 percentage points, and this very well could swing the election. Mark my words. This RFK Jr. endorsement could swing the election. Now, the only caveat I will say, and this is where I would default to the predictions that Tucker Carlson and the like have made, and that's that I think Trump will win this election, barring essentially like some sort of black swan event, whether it be the power grid or something like that, or another threat to his life. I think this is a runaway election. I think Americans have common sense. I think people realize you can't just run a propaganda storm and say, hey, your life is great. The economy is doing great when it's actually not doing great. It doesn't work. And by the way, we're going to have a special coming out just on that topic, the rewriting of history in real time, coming up on Wednesday of next week. Be sure to tune into the Saving the Republic special on Wednesday night that we will be putting out on the rewriting of history in real time, how the media has used these storylines to try to convince you that the pain you're feeling is not actually real. It's pretty amazing to see this in the 21st century. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think down below about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s potential endorsement of President Trump. Let me know what you think about the standing of the election. Is President Trump going to win? Will this help him? Will it not? Let us know your thoughts down below. As always, subscribe to Grab Your Gear on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow the show here. Leave a comment. I try to respond as much as I can to people who watch the show. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.